1, 2. What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Sunday night's late night agenda, and it's just little old me here today, ladies and gents. No guests, no panel, no, it's just me and you, like the old days. And do you know what? I did this on purpose tonight because I wanted to, there's my wife's phone making noise, by the way. I said to Sabrina, do you need that in the sitting room? She says, no, Craig, and there's her phone making noise in the bag. Welcome. Yeah, could you hurry up and get your phone out, love? Please, if you wouldn't mind, you know. Any air of professionalism is going out the window here very quickly.
It's just notifying me that my wonderful husband was online.
Yeah, well, it's about time you were notified of where he was somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Now, do us all a favour there, love, and fick off! Love you! Love you! There you go. There's a start to a stream you won't see on many other channels, ladies and gentlemen. In family arguments and everything. You love to see it. How are we, everyone? I mean, how could we not be well? You know, what an almost perfect weekend. The Reds hand Watford their arse, and Manchester United have their arse handed to them by Leicester. I mean, if only Brentford could have somehow found a way past Edouard Mendy yesterday, who was quite simply, it is Edouard Mendy, isn't it? It was quite simply sensational in goal for Chelsea yesterday. What a performance. Woo! It was, he's a one-man wall. I mean, I have to say, I did a watch-along of the game, and what a goalkeeping performance it was. I mean, you got to give credit. I mean, Mendy was he was sensational. Craig looks like Nathan Lyon. I don't know who that is, mate, but if I look like him, he must be one hell of a handsome bastard, Cameron. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, dude? Welcome. As you can tell, I'm relaxed and chill tonight, folks. Back from the old holidays and ready to go. But it wouldn't be an Anfield agenda, late night agenda, without me talking about your balls. Not just your balls, all of our balls combined, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Ball Collective advertisement announcement right now. Football is back, and our friends at Manscaped have got you covered. Halloween is coming up, and you don't want to be scaring your partner with those hairy old balls. No, they need to be trimmed to within an inch of their life. And I've got just a company to help you out. You can join the 2 million other men and women worldwide who trust Manscaped for their male grooming needs. The all-new Performance Package 4.0 features the Lawnmower 4.0 with that advanced skin-safe technology, 7,000 RPM motor, 4,000K LED light, and also travel lock as well. You get the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. You'll get all the goodies that we talk about: ball donor, ball deodorant, shed travel bag, and of course the boxer briefs as well. You can get 20% off and free shipping by using our discount code WFM20, and then you're gonna have to wait a while because your balls will absolutely thank you. I was in Tesco earlier on and I had to tell them to shut up. They were just screaming out loud, "Thank you, Craig!" Relax, lads, it's all good, it's all good. So as I said, 20% off, free shipping, WFM20. Right, what have we got, ladies and gents? What do we want to start off with tonight? Do we want to have a little bit of a gloat around Mohamed Salah's world-beating performance yesterday against Watford? Do we want to all laugh at the Eden Hazard links? Because, you know, we will take a little bit of time to laugh at them as well. Craig, you sexy Irish man. Devon, how are you, dude? Welcome in. Just in case it's a joke, he's not for sale. Look, I'm going to get straight into it because I know a lot of people will be coming on tonight and asking what the fuck is Craig going on about here with this Eden Hazard, Mohamed Salah gobbledygook. And it is just that, ladies and gentlemen. It is not even silly season. We're outside of the silly season and the stories continuously come. Now, you guys know where I sit on the Hazard versus Mohamed Salah debate. I've been very vocal on it for the longest time. But I have to say, when I seen this today, that apparently Real Madrid are going to offer us Eden Hazard in cash for Mohamed Salah, I thought, firstly, go fuck yourself. And secondly, they can have Loris Karius, and they're still robbing us. Yeah, you're laughing now. You're saying to yourself, this lad's lost the plot. Yeah, Loris Karius for Hazard. Ha ha ha, funny Irish man, great swap. But it is. Think about it. As soon as we bring Loris Karius and ship him over there to Real Madrid, the Instagram game goes up tenfold overnight. You can thank me later, Real Madrid. Just think about the Instagram account. You know what I mean? You had Ronaldo, you lost him. You had some of the big boys, you've lost them. Loris Karius, that's the answer. That's the solution. That's the deal, Real Madrid. Take it or leave it, but that's all that you're getting. Gary Neville said Salah should join Madrid. Gary Neville? Who the fuck is Gary Neville? He's probably as relevant as Gary Neville. Gary Neville can do one, because Gary Neville has more problems to worry about with his own club, Salford, and of course his other club, Manchester United, who had their asses whooped yesterday. Whooped by Leicester. And just above average Leicester. I've felt this result coming for a while for United, and I'm not trying to just take cheap shots because United lost. But sometimes, and it happened with us as well when we were in some good place. Sometimes you can see that results aren't necessarily indicative of the level of performance. And Manchester United's performances this season, they've got away with quite a few. They got away with it against Villarreal. They got away with it against Aston Villa. They didn't get away with it yesterday. And by getting away with it, here's what I mean. You look at the Manchester United 11 or the Manchester United squad, and no matter how much we like or dislike them, we have to admit there are some very good footballers in there. Mason Greenwood, Cristiano Ronaldo, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes. If you want to include Harry Maguire, I think he's bang average. I've said this for the longest time. You've got decent fullbacks in there as well. Luke Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, an excellent goalkeeper in David De Gea. But here's the thing. They aren't playing like a team that understands their system. They aren't playing like a team that understands what the manager wants. And they certainly aren't playing like a team who play for each other. It feels to me, as an outsider, like if Manchester United are to win a game of football that's in any way close, it will only be because of a moment of brilliance, whether it's from Cristiano Ronaldo, whether it's from Mason Greenwood, whether it's from Marcus Rashford. There is no air of a team or a squad about that team now, the way that they look to me. That's what I mean when I say that they got a little bit luckier, they've been getting away with it. And that's okay. Teams get away with it. We've got away with it at times when we haven't played well, also because of moments of brilliance. But I could always look at Liverpool and see that the team were evolving, that the team understood what the manager wanted. Don't see that for Manchester United right now. And whichever way you look at it, the buck has to stop with the manager. Yes, Ollie needs time to implement whatever he's trying to implement. But look at what they've spent again this summer. And have they pushed on? They finished last season in second place. As of right now, I think sixth, if I'm right, something like that in the Premier League. So it's not me just having cheap shots at Manchester United, because I just don't see the progression. I don't see that throwing money at the issue is going to be the answer. There has to be a style of football right throughout the team, right through underage level, right through, and a philosophy in place. And that takes time. Now, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the man to lead that revolution? I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the man to lead that revolution. I want him to stay there because Manchester United aren't going to push on, even with the level of talent that they have, under him as a manager. And in saying all that, I should be going into this game next weekend really, really hyped about it. I should be going in thinking we can hand Manchester United their asses next week. And on paper, in theory, we can. But we know only too well that these are the type of games that the underdogs, and they are the underdogs going into this one, often step up their game and form goes out the window. So I'm always nervous. Whether we're on top or whether United are on top of us in the season and we're behind, you never can take into account form going into these games, because often it doesn't matter one jot. It's about the 90 minutes. Leicester fans must love Maguire, said RSH14. Yeah, he's I mean, they were robbed. Like, let's call a spade here. Maguire is a good Premier League level centre back, but he is not good enough to be the world's most expensive defender. Let me reiterate that. Harry Maguire is the world's most expensive defender, and he's bang average. Let that sink in for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let that sink in. Now, I'm not somebody who doesn't give credit where it's due. I will give credit to those Manchester United players that have played well. But Harry Maguire for £80 million is absolute fucking robbery. And I'm fucking loving it. I am loving it. Right, then we have a super chat we did from Jen. How are you, Jen? Lovely to see you in the chat. I hope that you're having a nice weekend. Hi, Craig. I heard Mo's agent has flown to the UK to finalise a deal. Your thoughts? My thoughts are similar to you, Jen. So yes, Rami Abbas was pictured or seen in London after the Reds win against Watford, having sushi with Mohamed Salah. And like Jen and like many other people, I assume that is him flying in to help try and finalise the deal. Now, it's important to remember, Liverpool have offices in London. You know, most big football clubs these days, of course, whether they're in Manchester, Liverpool, whatever, they'll usually have a London office as well, because like it or not like it, London is where a lot of business gets done. So I hope, Jen, that what we all think is the case is right. And I hope that we do see something or hear something leaked in the next few days to suggest that that deal is getting close to being resolved. Because look, what more can the player do? Do you know what I mean? He's letting his football speak for itself. And look, you know what we all feel, Jen. You know what I feel. You know what everyone in the chat feels. Just get a deal done. A deal that the club can afford, and a deal that reflects Mohamed Salah's status in world football, which right now in form, to me, he is the best player in the world right now. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but I mean right now he's the best player in the world. So yeah, I hope the deal's coming. I've been confident all along that it will come. I've got no idea what figures are going to be involved in the deal. We've seen somewhere between 330, 350 grand a week being mentioned, which would absolutely smash our wage structure. But again, sometimes exceptional players demand exceptional circumstances, and I believe this is one of those circumstances. I'm so happy the team are playing so well. It's a big man. Craig, who do you think we need in pickup in January? I don't think we do any business in January, mate. Honestly, barring an unfortunate injury to one of the lads, I don't think January is where we do business. I think next summer will be where we do business. Now, that in mind, there is obviously the possibility of somebody being signed in January on a pre-contract who, I'm just throwing this out there as an example. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but Frank Kessie, as an example. Somebody who's out of contract at AC Milan at the end of the season. Somebody who Liverpool could sign in January on a pre-contract agreement for next summer. Or any other club outside of Italy could, of course, do the same thing. So maybe that type of deal, perhaps. But I don't see Liverpool going into the transfer market in January to boost the squad for the season, because in all honesty, I don't think we need it. I really don't think we need it at the minute as the squad sits. Yes, the injury to Harvey Elliott was really unfortunate. We hope he's back as soon as possible. But outside of that, I don't see us suddenly making a signing just because the AFCON is on, because we would have known about the AFCON a long time ago. And I believe that with the two games we have, I think it's Norwich and Burnley in the Premier League, if my memory's right. I can see us being able to manage those two games, but maybe Divock Origi, Takumi Minamino, Bobby Firmino, Diogo Jota, maybe pushing Oxlade-Chamberlain forward, maybe even throwing Curtis Jones on the left side of the attack. So I think we could probably measure our way through those games. Now, if something happens between now and January that, heaven forbid, would put one of the lads, one of the spine of the team, out for another prolonged period, perhaps the club will look to do something. But yeah, I just don't. I know Klopp isn't a massive fan of the January window as a whole. And yes, we have made some good signings in January over the years. Coutinho, Suarez, Sturridge. But I just don't get any vibes that it's going to be this January, mate, that we're going to do it. And somebody saying in the chat there, Rafinha in January. Well, we've seen Deco, who is part of the Guest a Few agency, who represents Rafinha, also represented Fabinho, and Diogo Jota, if my memory's not mistaken, as well. I actually think, wasn't Deco there when we signed Fabinho? I think he was at Anfield for some of the pictures. So he's been speaking about Rafinha's situation, and he said, look, Liverpool admire Rafinha, they're one of the clubs that are interested in him, but he's quite happy with the project right now with Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds, and I think maybe Rafinha finishes the season at Leeds before maybe moving on somewhere else. I certainly don't see Leeds where they currently sit in the Premier League table, which, it's early doors. I'm not saying they're going to stay here. I hope they don't, because I like Leeds. But they are 3 points above relegation now. And Leeds owners want Leeds to establish themselves as a Premier League club and to push for the European places eventually. So I don't see them, again, being stripped of one of their main assets mid-season. Somebody who can win 3 points for Leeds with the stroke of that left foot of his. So yeah, I don't see Leeds selling Rafinha in January, if I'm being honest. There was another super chat there I think I missed. There was. Corey said, Madrid wanting to get Salah are looking to bin Hazard. To do it should be the end of Hazard is better than Mo conversation. That conversation, Corey, I've said it for a long time, mate. And I sound like an arsehole every time I say it, but it really annoys me that Eden Hazard, who is an excellent footballer, a very, 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 very good footballer when he shows up. But how can you have a conversation about two players that play somewhat in similar positions? Now, sometimes Hazard would be a little bit deeper. Give credit where it's due. And yes, Hazard is very good with assists and stuff like that as well. But to have somebody who shows up unfit in pre-season a lot of the time, who has had a lot of injuries, who has gone 2 entire calendar years, not back to back, but 2 entire calendar years without scoring a goal, to put him in the same category or conversation with Mohamed Salah, to me is an insult to what Salah has achieved. If he went 2 years or 1 year without scoring a goal, we would never, ever, ever hear the end of it from the media or from opposition fans, and rightly so. So I don't get it, man. I've never got a Corey why that conversation was even a debate. Mohamed Salah's numbers just piss all over anything Eden Hazard has done. But again, I will say what I've always said, Hazard is an exceptionally good footballer on his day. And Eden Hazard put in one of the best away performances I've ever seen at Anfield by an opposition player. And he's a damn good footballer, but just not consistent enough for me. And that's, again, I get really annoyed by that type of player, like Neymar. He pisses me off something fierce as well. Because you see all this talent, undoubted talent, ability, flair, but just doesn't deliver consistently enough. And those type of players annoy me, because for every one of those players, you have a Steven Gerrard, a Frank Lampard, you know, somebody who was a Cristiano Ronaldo, a Lionel Messi, somebody who has wrung every single ounce of ability out of their careers through breaking their arse with hard work, through living the lifestyle of a professional athlete, through doing everything in the right way. They're the type of footballers that I admire. They're the type of footballers that I root for. The people who give everything. The Dirk Coutts of this world. There's a reason why we fall in love with these guys. There's a reason why we admire what they do and why they're almost our ambassador as fans on the pitch. Jamie Carragher being another one. Another player who got every ounce of ability out of his career. I hope that makes sense, because I'm not just knocking Hazard as a footballer, because of course he's a good footballer. Of course he is. But nowhere, like, we heard that the only club that he was going to leave Chelsea for was Real Madrid. And that's fair enough. We've heard that from other players before. But again, like Felipe Coutinho, he got his move, his dream move, the only move that would take him away from Chelsea and Coutinho at Liverpool. And they've both shit the bed. They've both shit the bed. And if you don't think that Eden Hazard has shit the bed at Real Madrid, look at his very first pre-season. He showed up, I don't know how many kilograms, but he showed up overweight. Now look, I'm not here to fat shame. Look at me, I can't fat shame anybody. But I'm not a professional athlete who's just got my dream move. And the reason I keep banging on about that is, it's a mindset. So if you got your dream job tomorrow, if you're watching this at home and you got your dream job tomorrow, or you got into your dream university course or something along those lines, you are going to make sure on day one that you show up ready, that you show up knowing that you mean business, and that you impress those around you, and that you show, like Ronaldo did at Manchester United. You hear stories straight away. He comes in back to Manchester United, straight away the eating habits, the training habits, the professionalism of that dressing room increases tenfold. Players don't have their Friday treat in the canteen because they're looking around saying, hang on, Cristiano isn't having this treat in the canteen, because he looks after himself. Because he lives the life of a fucking professional. That's why I get so frustrated around Eden Hazard, because we look at Hazard, we see all the attributes, we also see the failures. You look at Mohamed Salah, look at the shape he showed up in. Look at the way he started this season. Look how much his career and his legacy means to him. And look how he takes his job. He takes his duties as an ambassador for the sport, for his country, for his religion. And he takes them 100% seriously and carries himself with great esteem. That's why I respect and like those players, and that's why I cannot stand the likes of Neymar and Eden Hazard and all of these flash in the pan players that do it once every 3 or 4 weeks and it shows up everywhere, and we're supposed to bow down and worship these little fucking prima donnas. No, not on my fucking watch, ladies and gentlemen. Anywho, there you go. That's my little rant for the day over with. And I hope that gives you some reason, because I always get people saying, oh, look at this salty Liverpool fan. I hope that just gives some context as to why I appreciate certain types of footballers and don't appreciate others. Now, for those who love the beautiful game for its magic, for its highlights, for those flicks, I can understand as well why people would, youngsters in particular, would love a Neymar or a Felipe Coutinho or an Eden Hazard. But I'm old school. I want my lad out there on that pitch to die for himself, the shirt and those around him. Obviously, I mean that not in a real sense. And on that, actually, I just want to take a second today to commend everybody inside St James's Park, to commend the medics, to commend the players from both teams for the fantastic way that they responded to that medical emergency today. It's inside St James's Park. It's great to know that fans immediately reacted, got the attention of the stewards, and got medical attention to the person who I believe had a cardiac incident and is now stable in hospital. So massive props to all the Newcastle fans, to the medical staff, to the Spurs fans, to both sets of players, and all the officials, because that's absolutely spot on. That's the beautiful game. That's what we love about it. That camaraderie, that coming together, that spirit. So yeah, I'm all over it. And After we seen what happened with Christian Eriksen this summer, of course, a game which I was commenting on and I'll never, ever forget. It was great today to see again the football world come together, to see the importance of having defibrillators available in these circumstances. And again, David Ginola raised some good points about, making sure that we're all aware. And I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that I learn first aid as well, because, there's been so many incidents of sudden cardiac deaths and stuff like that where it really does hit home. So well done to everybody involved today. That's the type of shit we love in football. Is Craig a passion merchant? Oh God, yes. Yes, that's one thing I would admit to, man. Yeah, I'm absolutely a passion merchant, if you want to call me that, because that's what it's about. Those crunching tackles, the roar of the crowd, that's what gets us up off. That's what gets me up off my seat. I like to see something in somebody that I see in myself, or I tend to like people with a work ethic that I see in myself or in others around them. Hope that makes sense. Anywho, right, let's get to more of your comments, guys. What do you want to talk about next? Connor said, and I'm going to quote this, "The Reds have got no money, but we'll still win the league. Na 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 na." And we fucking will as well. I'm on that train, ladies and gentlemen. Choo choo! 20! Hello! Suck it! As you can tell, I'm in jovial form today, ladies and gents. I'm in jovial form. What's the story with Jude Bellingham? I don't know, mate. I know I want him. I know a lot of Liverpool fans want him, and I know that there's probably no way we can figure a way to pay for him. But yeah, I mean, whilst he's still a Dortmund player or hasn't moved anywhere else, I'm going to keep dreaming. And yeah, why not? I don't know what it is about Jude Bellingham. I just have something in my gut that makes me think that he's the one. He's the one that they're going to do. He's the one that they're going to actually open the piggy bank for. Adam said he loves the flair players. Yeah, it's great. And look, Adam, I get it. We all fall in love with the game because we've seen moments of magic, whether it's like Mohamed Salah's goal, whether it's Pele, whether it's Diego Maradona, whether it's Neymar, whether it's Leo. I get it. We all fall in love with the game because of the beautiful moments, and that's why we call it a beautiful game. But at the same time, give me 10 James Milners. Give me 10 Dirk Coutts. James said, "Hi Craig, Firmino's hat-trick got me thinking of his numbers. 163 goal involvements in 299 games for Liverpool. Now I think that's decent given he's not a typical striker." Yeah, it's very well put, James. And I think Connor sent me a stat earlier on. Again, I don't have it to hand, but I think it's something like he's had a goal involvement every 33, 34 minutes that he's been on the pitch this season, which is quite frankly remarkable, if we're being honest about it. And, we speak about Bobby Firmino not being a natural goal scorer, a Harry Kane, even a Cristiano Ronaldo in this day and age, but you don't score that hat-trick yesterday without having goal scorer's instincts, because he followed the ball in when Cathcart hit it off and it came out off the keeper. He followed the ball in when James Milner squared it across him for the first goal. He followed the ball in and timed his run perfectly when Nico Williams put the ball across the corridor of uncertainty, and then he was there to tap it in. You don't do that. You don't get that hat-trick yesterday without having goal-scoring instinct. So, yeah, I think it's often unfair that Bobby gets slated for not doing centre-forward numbers when sometimes through our system, he's just not in that position. When he gets in that position, we see how deadly he is. We see how clinical he is in front of goal. So yeah, I'm always been a big admirer of Bobby. He's my favourite player with the club. And I will be doing my preview tomorrow live at 5 o'clock. So we're going to have two shows tomorrow. I'll be doing my preview at 5 o'clock. And then at 8:45 tomorrow, it'll be myself, James Redmond and Steve Bland for another Cop the Week show as well. So yeah, two things to talk about tomorrow. So I'll be giving you my predicted 11 for the Atleti game and my predicted score as well. Tom Corcoran said, Firmino's problem now will be, can he do it consistently? I think, for me, Tom, I see it that I don't ever see a time where Bobby Firmino's going to back 25 league goals in a season. But what I do want to see is that combined front three, or let's say front four, let's include Diogo Jota over the course of a season. I would like to see 60 goals across those four players in the Premier League. Don't mind how they're spread out, But if Liverpool can do that as an attacking unit, if we can get 60, 65 goals from the front three, league goals, I mean, then you're not going to be too far off, I don't think, by the end of the season, you know, for the winners' medals. I don't think you'd be too far away. And yet, we'll probably get a few from corners and stuff, maybe a couple from our defenders, maybe the odd one or two from our fullbacks, and hopefully a few more chipped in from midfield as well. Biff that like button and show the big fella some love, said David Coleman. I love that. And I'm hoping to get rid of the term big fella as well soon, because I need to start dropping some kilos. So I have finally got my ass in line and got the supplements and stuff I need to start losing weight. So hopefully by the end of the season, we won't be calling me the big fella anymore. Just the fella. And I know it's not meant in a derogatory way, by the way. I completely understand that, because look at me, built like a brick shit house, mate. Not really. Big softy. Right, what else have we got? Craig, do you start Bobby over Jota against Man United next Sunday? Yeah, see, that's such a difficult choice, isn't it? Now, a bit of a spoiler, I would start Bobby on Tuesday against Atletico Madrid. If nothing else, just to make sure Diogo Jota has enough time to really recover from what kept him out of the international break with Portugal. So I don't want to look that far ahead to the United game yet, but I would be starting Bobby in Atletico on Tuesday night, personally. And I think you'll be surprised, actually, with the starting 11 that I've gone with. And again, I'll be doing it tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Gotta go for the jugular with United. Absolutely. I mean, we've had a good start to the season. We're currently 4 points clear of Manchester United. 1 point, obviously, behind Chelsea, who got a very hard-earned victory against Brentford yesterday. And yeah, look, if we beat Manchester United next weekend, 7 point gap between us and them, and Goldbridge is going to have to start looking at that £500 charity bet we have on. And God, I mean, I think I'll get that cheque framed, to be honest with you. You know, a cheque from Goldbridge for £500 for a charity, that would have to be checked. And for those that don't know, we have a charity bet on. We put it on the start of the season. I had one on last year as well with a really lovely Manchester United supporting guy called Andy. I lost that bet last season, and Andy asked me to pay the money to an autism charity close to where he lives, which I was, of course, more than happy to do. And yeah, if Liverpool finish above United this year, Goldbridge has to cough up £500 to a charity of my choice, and if United finish above Liverpool this season, I, of course, have to reverse that and give 500 quid to a charity of his choice. And if either of our teams win the league, there was a bonus 250 quid to go on top of that one. So, you know, I don't want to have to cough up another £500, not because of the money. You know, the money, giving money to a charity, it's always sound like, but I just don't want United to be finishing above Liverpool. That's the main motivation there for me. What have we got? Gievlin ERP, thank you for the super chat. Said Salah wants to stay, right? He dreamt of going to LFC. Is he the best in the world? And what's the situation with his contract? Swap Hazard, what? Right, a lot of stuff in there, man. Let's break it down bit by bit. Salah wants to stay. Right, that's first part of your question. I think so. Certainly the vibe's coming from him. And even if you look at the way he celebrated his goal yesterday in front of the Liverpool fans, he knows. He knows he's at a special place, that he's idolised by a special group of people. Is he the best in the world? That's the next part of it. I think on form right now, up there with Lewandowski, Erling Haaland. Yeah, he's got to be in the conversation for the best in the world right now. And the last part of it, what's the situation with his contract, and then a swap for Hazard. So we know his agent Rami Abbas is in London, as Jen mentioned earlier on at the start with the super chat. There was sightings of Rami Abbas and Mohamed Salah yesterday having sushi in a London restaurant after the Reds' victory against Watford. So you would imagine, if you were to put two and two together, probably more conversations to be had between Salah's representative and it's not his agent. I keep calling him his agent. I believe he's his legal advisor between himself and the club. So we hope that we get a good announcement on that one soon. And then the Hazard and Salah swap part of your question, mate, there was an article put out there. Again, I don't know who the fuck put this out there, but that Real Madrid are apparently looking to swap Eden Hazard and cash for Mohamed Salah. Couple of things on that one. Firstly, let's look at the swap part of it. Eden Hazard is going to turn 31 at the beginning of 2022. So a few months, he's going to be 31 years of age. He's a year and a half older than Mohamed Salah. And our owners are contemplating whether they should give Mohamed Salah a wage increase to make him the highest paid player of the history of the football club. So what the fuck makes anybody think, any so-called journalist think, that Liverpool are going to entertain signing a player who's 18 months older far inferior and pay him probably a similar wage, because Eden Hazard is going to want top dollar because he would have got it at Chelsea, he'd be getting it at Real Madrid. I don't know how anybody can write that as a journalist. Goes to college, studies to write that shite. Nobody believes it. Even Hazard would be laughing at that, I'm sure. It's just pants. What else we got? Time for Salah to finish United and Ollie, said Rehan. Yeah, look, if somebody's going to get Ollie the sack, might as well be Mohamed Salah, mate. You know what I mean? Why not? It would be lovely to stick 7 points between us, wouldn't it? Even at this early point of the season. And look, United have a very, very, very difficult run of fixtures coming up as well. I think it's on my phone. I have a screenshot of them. But yeah, it's not great for United. I mean, they've got us, they've got Manchester City. They've got obviously the Champions League games. I think maybe Spurs or somebody else like that in that run of fixtures as well. Hi Craig, will you get back on that football sometime? I don't know, man. We haven't talked about it. I've spoke with Mark, of course, but that we've never broached that subject again since. I will be recording a preview with Mark Goldbridge on Thursday, actually, so that will be going live on Anfield Agenda on Friday. So I hope you guys give that a watch, and be interesting to see how Mark views this game coming up at the weekend. I actually seen a clip of his reaction yesterday when Leicester scored their third, and yeah, I'd be as bad, if not worse. You know, they often say that you're at your most vulnerable after you score, and you know, what was it, 40 seconds or something like that between United's goal and Jamie Vardy sticking it in top bin. So yeah, I can understand why any United fan would be losing the shit over that, because I was nearly rolling around the ground laughing. Not at Marks, but just at the game. Hazard's always injured, said Fat But Epic. That could be my name, mate. That could be my name. Fat But Epic. That could work for me, dude. Yeah, look, and he's heading towards 31 years of age, and we often speak about players playing to 36 at the top level, 37. You look at James Milner, you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, you look at Lionel Messi. Hazard doesn't strike me as one of those players that's still going to be at the same caliber at 34, 35, 36, whereas I look at Mohamed Salah and I'd say the same about Gini Wijnaldum as well, in fairness, that he will absolutely play till he's 35, 36, 37 at the highest level. Good to see you and Mark starting to make contact again. There was contact straight away, mate. There was contact within a day. I never had an issue with Mark. I've said this multiple times. He didn't do that on me. So I had no issue with Mark in that sense. And again, I'll reiterate what I've always said about Mark. He's been a good friend to me. He's been a good mentor to me. And I've nothing but respect for his audience, for the team on that football, for the team on the United stand. They've been very good to me on a personal level, and I'll always show that respect back. Now, people have their own perspectives of what happened, and that's understandable. I have mine. That may differ from other people's, but at the end of the day, it was nothing major. You know, other people tried to blow it out of all proportion. For me, it was something and nothing. I'd take Bellingham all day long, and I think he'll be at LFC next year, said Clive's Exploring Adventures. Now a member for 2 months. Thank you, dude. Bellingham, look. Imagine a future midfield option of Jude Bellingham, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, maybe Tyler Morton, add in a couple of other young bright talents around as well, and it's quality. What was this, mate? I said contact, not I don't know what that's about. Let me just... Oh, my apologies, sorry. Good to see you and Mark starting to make content again. Yeah, dude, sorry, my bad. Yeah, well, look, we would usually do stuff around the United-Liverpool games when they happen, so yeah, it was straight away. I just said, look, do you want to do something around the United game? He said, no problem. Bing, bang, bosh. How much did Madrid pay for Hazard? I want to say €100 million. I think that's the case. Again, feel free to pull me up on there, somebody in the chat, if I'm wrong, but I think it was €100 million. Will Thiago be fit to play on Sunday? Right, well, we do have our double agent, our secret agent, Steve Bland, whose son actually goes to the same football training as Thiago's son, and he wasn't on crutches at last week's session. So yeah, it's looking good that with a few bits we've seen on Instagram as well of him doing some stretches and stuff like that, it's looking good that hopefully Thiago will be available, because I think he could be really important in that game against United. I know he hasn't had much of a run of former games this season, but it screams to me away from home at Old Trafford that, excuse me, somebody like Thiago could be very, very important in that game. So I hope he's available. Rabadan said Klopp would make Sancho world class in 2 weeks. That's really freaky you said that, mate, because I was thinking about that last night. Because we would be broadly linked with Sancho, even though we were very unlikely. It always looked most likely he was going to go to United, but I couldn't help yesterday but think the same thing. That I don't want to go in on Sancho because I feel it's only fair for people to get one full season under their belt in a new team to acclimatise themselves and get used to it. So I don't want to go in on him, but I do get the impression that if he was working under a Pep Guardiola, under a Jurgen Klopp, that we would see more. And that United would be getting more out of him under a good coach, because he's certainly an excellent footballer, and he hasn't yet hit the ground running at Manchester United. And again, not going to go in on the lad. That happens when players come to a new team. But I do have that sense that what Rabadan said there, that if he was playing under Klopp, maybe he wouldn't be getting in yet, because that's something we've seen under Klopp with Ibrahim Konate, Fabinho, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Andy Robertson, that once you're acclimatised, you'll get dropped in. But he wouldn't play him just for the sake of it. And I feel that if Klopp felt that Sancho wasn't up to, not the standards, let's say up to speed with the training, with the pressing, with everything that he wants from his system, he probably wouldn't be getting starts. He'd be getting introductions here or there till he got used to it, which is one way of looking after the player as well, and keeping him out of the line of criticism. Whereas at United, it seems like, okay, well, we spent X amount on this really good young footballer, let's shoehorn him in somewhere. And I think that's the difference. Would you start Thiago against Atleti or keep him fit? I'd keep him fit, Scotty. I would. I'd keep him fit. See, this is why I'm saying it, mate. I think we've got a little bit of breathing room in the Champions League. You never want to take anything for granted, of course, because Champions League football is really difficult. But after the good start that we've had, winning against AC Milan, getting the victory against Atalanta as well, it gives us a bit of breathing room. So I would say... Porto. Where am I going with Atalanta? Sorry, my head's up my arse. So we're beating Porto away, and beating AC Milan. It gives us a bit of breathing room that we need. So, if we were to draw, or even, heaven forbid, got beaten against Atleti at the Wanda Metropolitano on Tuesday, it's not the end of the world. Whereas the league situation, we don't want to allow Chelsea or Manchester City to start pulling away from us. So I would certainly say this week, I would be prioritising the game against Manchester United on Sunday if I was the gaffer. Although, he'll put a team out that he feels can get a result in Madrid, of course, because if you can, get 9 points on the board there, 3 more points, and you're probably top in the group out of the last 3 games. So again, maybe a chance for rotation there. Give some of the younger players a chance in the last couple of group games. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But for me, I would prioritise the game on Sunday against United. Do you think the front three will remain together for the coming seasons now that they're all playing good again? I don't know, mate, is the honest answer. And here's why. It's not because I don't think they're good enough, because I do. I think it's fair to say that we'll all agree that over the next season or two, we'll probably need an injection of youth into the average age of the starting team. Because a lot of the players, all of our front three, they're all 29 or 30 years of age right now. And then Diogo Jota, obviously 25, I think he is. He's the exception. So we'll park Jota off to one side. So we're going to need 4 or 5 attacking players. And if we are to refresh the team, whether it be for Jeremy Doku, whether it be for somebody more expensive like a Jude Bellingham, you're probably going to have to create revenue from somewhere and free up wages from somewhere. And that's why I think we may see somebody, and by somebody, if I'm being really entirely honest about it, as unpalatable as it is, I mean Sadio Mane or Bobby Firmino. One of them may be sacrificed to help revitalise and refresh Jurgen's squad and help him to build his second great Liverpool team. I hope that makes sense, because in no way do I want to lose any of those boys, because I love them. But I would understand it because of the way that FSG run the club. And again, I'm not saying that I am in support of the way they run the club, but I am talking about it from a realistic perspective. We are probably going to have at most 40 or 50 million quid net in our transfer budget next summer. So to supplement that, you're probably going to have to do, move on to maybe an Origi, move on maybe an Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain or some of the younger players, and maybe one unpalatable signing or sale, whether that's Mane or Firmino. But I think the club also know that the only way that the supporter base would swallow selling Sadio Mane or Bobby Firmino is if it was to help to recruit somebody who would be an undoubted quality addition to the group. So whether you're talking about Jude Bellingham as an example. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I'm thinking it's going to happen. But again, it is just that. My thoughts and nothing else. Brighton is better than United at the minute. League table doesn't lie, Brandon. League table doesn't lie, mate. They are further up on the league table than United. So yeah, let's just all agree with you on that one, dude. What's the story with Jones? Yeah, look, I can understand why Jurgen Klopp is extremely pissed off with the situation with Curtis Jones, because he didn't play, I believe, in England's first game in the under-21s over the international break, and then Lee Carsley brought him on as a substitute when they were playing against Andorra, and he got injured, or the injury flared back up again, and I can absolutely understand why Jurgen Klopp is extremely pissed off that Lee Carsley has probably unnecessarily played one of the players in a game that, let's be honest, England should be able to field any under-21 team to go and beat Andorra with all due respect. And I understand it. I get it. I get the Klopp's pissed off, and I get why he's pissed off. What else we got? Who do I think could be the next person to leave and join Liverpool? Well, look, the next person to leave could be anybody from Divock Origi to Nico Williams to, maybe somebody who feels they're not getting enough game time, like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I don't know. Next person to join, Jeremy Doku was probably the smart money for the next body through the door at Anfield. I would say it'll be next summer, and I think probably somewhere around 40 million quid again, which seems to be a repetitive kind of number for Liverpool. We have a lot of transfers that are in the high 30s, low 40s. In my recollection, now that my recollection could be wrong, but I think Jeremy Doku for around 40 million quid would be my next guess. Gravenberch and Bellingham are the midfielders for me, said Jamrock. Of those two, mate, I think Gravenberch is far easier for the club to go and bring in, and Ryan Gravenberch at Ajax is a very, very highly thought of young footballer. Probably hasn't got the same global appeal yet of a Jude Bellingham, who, because he's English and because he's been doing really well as well at Dortmund, his profile is probably a bit more pronounced in this part of the world. But Ryan Gravenberch, I can understand why you've said that. He's a very good footballer, and I don't think he'll be too much longer with Ajax before he gets that move. But I agree with you, he's a cracking player. Jamrock said Adeyemi might be the next one in. I think he stays in Germany. Oh, well, I say stays, excuse me. He's in Austria now, but I think he ends up in Germany for his next move. So whether that's Dortmund, whether that's Bayern Munich, I think that's where he's going to end up. I mean, we should be in the conversation, all right. I agree with you. He's doing really well. Had a good start to the season for Salzburg. Scored some goals in the Champions League, including some penalties. But every interview I see realistically has some link with him back to Germany, where I think he played at underage level. I think he played at Bayern Munich before he moved, I think. What do I think of the idea of Calvin Phillips? Yeah, I can see the thinking behind it. He's very similar in attributes to Jordan Henderson, so I can see why people are looking at how Calvin Phillips is utilised for Leeds in England and saying, all right, well, Hendo, if Hendo starts to slow down, or we need to bring somebody else in to do the Hendo role, I could see why people would look at Calvin Phillips and see, well, look, there's an almost ready-made younger version to some extent of Jordan Henderson. But again, I would suggest, is it worth paying what will be a premium to get an English player? I don't know is the answer with you. I have no issues with him as a footballer, none there whatsoever. But again, if you're looking to bring in somebody, and you do of course have to keep an eye on how many homegrown players you have and stuff like that, but there's just better value to be had in Europe. But I get you, and I wouldn't have any issues with him. I think he's a fine footballer. I know United have been looking at him as well, I think. Phillips would never leave Leeds. Yeah, he would though. You know what I mean, Cube? He would. Let's be honest about it. I know that Leeds are his club. I get it. But at the end of the day, when do you get to a point where you're like, okay, my career's short. I've lived the dream. I've played for Leeds. I'm loving it. And I may go back there, but I do think, mate, if Leeds don't get to a point where they're in Europe or challenging for the European places in the next season or two, you've got to look at it and go, how much are my heartstrings going to really, dent my career? Do I think Oxlade-Chamberlain will be sold in January? No, I don't. I don't think we sell anybody in January, to be honest with you. Particularly because we're going to be short of bodies anyway with the AFCON for that short period. So Chamberlain is somebody that you can utilise in the attacking midfield role, a wing-back role, probably play him up across the front three as we've seen in the false nine, or maybe even coming in off one of the wings. So no, I don't see him being sold in January, but could I understand why he may like a move if he doesn't get the minutes he wants this season and he's fit? Yes. Would I be against selling Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? No, I wouldn't. I think it's been, if I was to grade it, I'd give it a C, that signing, with regards to the impact. At the start, amazing. My God, did he fill those Felipe Coutinho shoes. But ever since that really unfortunate injury against Roma and some other injuries along the way, we have not seen that dynamic, swashbuckling Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as much as we'd all love to. Because he's a very likeable guy, Chamberlain. I mean, what's not to like about him? He seems like a lovely lad, always smiling. Has a wonderful new baby as well with his partner. So yeah, there's lots to like about him, and I don't want to be talking about selling him, but in being realistic, I would sell him if the right money came in. Wirtz, another good shout from Jamrock. Yeah, Florian Wirtz is another player who's been linked with Liverpool and has been highlighted quite a lot, particularly since Kai Havertz left Leverkusen. Florian Wirtz has been somebody who's really taken the mantle since Kai Havertz has left. They did have their asses handed to them today, 5-1 by Bayern Munich. But yeah, Florian Wirtz is another good shout for a really good talent coming through at Leverkusen, who have history again of producing some excellent footballers. Leon Bailey came through and made his mark there as well before he moved on to Aston Villa. So another good shout from Jamrock, to be fair. Florian Wirtz is, again, I know a little bit about him. I won't claim to have in-depth knowledge, but certainly been impressed with the bits and pieces I've seen of him. What have we got? Barca 2-1 up. Yeah, they got a dodgy penalty. I was watching it before I went live. So Valencia went 1-0 up. Then an excellent goal from Ansu Fati. And I mean excellent goal from him. Made it 1-1 before a bit of a dubious penalty right before half time. Vince Diesel, with a different spelling of the name, said opinion on John McGinn. I think John McGinn falls into the category of player who is in the right place. I don't think John McGinn will be as impactful if he leaves Aston Villa. I think that he's found himself in a good club, with a good manager, in a good system, at a good time, where everything's working for him. He's obviously settled there, and he looks a quality player in that Aston Villa team. And he is a very good footballer, McGinn, but if I'm McGinn, I'm staying there, because I think Villa are a club that are looking to build for the future, that are looking to establish themselves again as a club challenging for European places. They've got some exciting players that they've brought in since they sold Jack Grealish, and I think he's in the right place. And good footballer, very, very easy to like, John McGinn. Again, he would fall into the category I spoke about earlier on as somebody who works their ass off and gives 100% every time, which is why, again, I think it's very easy to like what he does. But I think best to stay there. Tielemans now, that's interesting, from Blue Moon FC, because you could see the class of Yuri Tielemans again yesterday against Manchester United. The great players, the good players, the really high skill players, almost the game looks like it's in slow motion to these guys at times, and Tielemans has that about him. Everything looks like sometimes it's a little bit not languid and slow, but he knows what he's at, and he's very confident in what he does. He's very easy on the eye, very technically good, and yeah, look, I would have him in a heartbeat at Liverpool, no doubt about it. I don't know if did he sign the new deal at Leicester. I know that they got a few of the lads tied down to new deals in the summer, and I know that they offered Yuri Tielemans a new deal, but for the life of me, I can't remember if he signed it or not. Basuma will be a smart buy. You know, I have to be careful what I say here, but there may be a legal issue there with Basuma at the minute. I think there was a report of an incident. But as a footballer and looking at it from footballing terms only, again, Basuma is another one that I would have no issue with Liverpool going out and signing, because there's a lot of attributes about the way he plays the game that to like. Harvey Barnes to Liverpool, Vernon. That's one that I've been talking about for 18 months probably now. He was one that did sign a new deal actually at Leicester. He was the name I'd forgotten about. But Harvey Barnes is somebody I know for a fact that Liverpool have been keeping track of. It's public. I mean, I don't say it like I know it like nobody else does. It's out there. It's public knowledge. But again, Harvey Barnes to me is a Jurgen Klopp style of footballer, and probably not the most sexiest name in the world. Maybe like when we were looking at the kid from West Ham, Jared Bowen, when his name was mentioned during the summer. Again, initially you're going, what? But if you think about it, you think about the style of football that Jared Bowen plays, that Harvey Barnes plays, and you look at what styles and what attributes Jurgen Klopp likes from his players, you can easily join those dots and make the connection. So, yeah, Harvey Barnes is another person that I would, again, agree, one, that there's interest in, and two, I can see why the interest is there. And what have we got? What happened? Google it, Andrew. That's the best thing I can say to you, mate. It's obviously I don't want to report anything incorrectly or anything like that, dude. So what I'd say is just Google it. What do you think about the rumours circulating of Sterling to Barcelona? Yeah, I mean, I didn't think too much about them until I until I heard Raheem Sterling speaking about the possibility of playing outside of the UK one day. And he's played for Liverpool. He's played for Manchester City. And like a lot of English players now, they are looking to broaden their horizons and have a little spell abroad. We've seen it with Trippier recently. Obviously, Jude Bellingham gone over to Germany to play his trade as well. And I don't know how they'd make the numbers add up. I don't know if Manchester City would perhaps want one of the young starlets from Barcelona to come in the other direction, but I think the Barcelona fans would like a lot of what Raheem Sterling does, and I think he'd probably be a decent fit into that Barcelona team. But it's the wages would just be the stumbling block, because I think Barcelona's wage cap, or their turnover cap, is like 87 million euro this season, something like that. Saint-Maximin super sub for Liverpool. Yeah, look, if there's one thing you can be sure about, it's that Newcastle's owners are not going to be selling Saint-Maximin right now. They are currently in the relegation spots, I think 3 points adrift of safety, and that has to be priority number one for those Newcastle owners. I mean, we're all talking about what they may or may not have to spend in January or in the summer, but priority number one is to make sure that Newcastle are a Premier League club come next season. Tybox said Klopp likes to buy players like Harvey Barnes and make them a star. Exactly. Not just Klopp, but that's something that Liverpool have historically done, is bring in good players, solid players, and help them between great coaching, obviously the love and admiration of the fans, and the cauldron that is Anfield, and just lift them to another level. So I absolutely agree with you, my man. My God, the time has flown by. How has it been nearly an hour already? What do we want to do? Do you want me to finish up, or do you want me to carry on for another 15 or 20 minutes? Again, I'll leave it up to you guys, because I'm good either way. Salah versus Hazard. I know Perez is geriatric and possibly suffers from... I'm not going to say that because that's not fair. But it's nonsense. Whoever came up with that Hazard and Salah story is a load of me bollocks, honestly. Lord Craig is having none of it. Happy to carry on. Keep your comments coming, ladies and gents, because I'm here to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I miss these streams. I miss where it's me and you, and I get to, talk about whatever you want to talk about, because I love having guests on, Paddy and Chris and Steve and James, and it's great. But I miss this. Like, this is what makes the channel. Well, this is what I love about the channel. I love chatting to you guys. And I like the bond that we have. So I often at times feel like I'm robbing you guys of interaction. So what we're going to do from tomorrow is we're going to try and do 2 videos a day. So I'm going to do a live stream, hopefully not on match days, but I'm going to do a live stream at 5 o'clock, and then we're going to have another live stream at 8:45. On the 5 o'clock one, it's just going to be me and you guys. It's going to be the old school interacting, and then at 8:45, it's going to be myself with any combination of the new guys that we have on board. And just a little update as well, myself and Connor are going to be sitting down and having a chat with Jack on Wednesday. So hopefully we can figure a way to sort out Jack's broadband side so we can get Jack back involved as well. And I'm thinking of 3 teams of 3. I'm thinking of me, Chris, Paddy, then me, James, Steve, then me, Kyle, and Jack. That's my thinking behind the little revolving groups of people and teams that I'd like Anfield Agenda to push going forward. So yeah, loads of stuff coming up, and more content. Jerusalem Syndrome said, yesterday showed exactly why Spurs terminated Danny Rose's contract. He was shite, mate, wasn't he? Salah had him on toast, mate, and he got warnings. Before Salah set Mane up, he'd already had a warning or 2 on that one. And yeah, look, Salah tore him a new one yesterday, no doubt about it. Who's Kyle? Kyle is the guy from Nothing But Reds, the American guy who is a really, really, really nice fella. Really nice guy. So yeah, I love the team we've put together on Anfield Agenda, and we want to give these guys a platform. So yeah, so Monday night you're going to see me, Steve, and James Redmond for the Cop the Week show. Wednesday or Thursday nights it's going to be myself and James Redmond. We still need a name for that show, by the way. And then yeah, I'm hoping to get Paddy and Chris more involved as well, because they're all really nice lads and they all give different perspectives on the club, and I think that's what we need. We need different perspectives, different talking points, and not just my opinions, because you know my opinions aren't always right, as much as I'd like to believe they are. Can I see Rafinha coming soon? Not soon. Maybe next summer. But even at that, even talking about next summer, I still think that the likes of Jeremy Doku is far more likely. Luke said, this doesn't sound good, but I hope Newcastle go down. Never thought I'd say that about Newcastle. Yeah, I'm kind of torn on that whole thing as well, mate, because I love the Geordies. I mean, salt of the earth people, love interacting with them. They love their football club dearly. They love the game dearly. Their support is unbelievable. I'll also never forget the way the Newcastle fans showed love and respect to Rafael Benitez when he was up there. They'll always be in my good graces. Not that they need to be, but I'll always admire Newcastle. But this just doesn't sit right with me either. I have to admit it doesn't. I'm delighted for the Newcastle fans. They've gotten rid of Mike Ashley because they deserve better. But I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say that I was against the owners that they currently have. I would be a hypocrite. And I don't get political. I don't talk about any of that type of stuff on streams. But this just doesn't feel right to me. I just wish maybe some rich American fucking owner or somebody came in and bought them, or, you know, I don't begrudge them the money. I don't begrudge them the success. I don't begrudge them seeing great players playing at St. James's Park, because I really, really, really do like the Geordies. And, you know, watch old streams. People say to me, if Liverpool didn't exist, what English team would you support? And I've always said Newcastle, because I really, really, really like the city and its people and the football culture and the way that they get behind their team. There's a lot to love about the Geordies, but man, this just doesn't sit right with me, I have to say. It just doesn't. And it's not because of the money, because I don't begrudge them having money. It's where that money comes from. And in this, if we want to expand it a little bit, I guess as football fans, we're all hypocritical, because I can't sit here in good conscience and say I'm not aware of issues that Standard Chartered have had, by the way. I can't say that in good conscience. Nor can I say that I have respect for the Manchester City regime that runs that club, because I don't. But we are blind to the hypocrisy at times because it suits us. Because it suits our morals and our want for a club to succeed at that minute. If we take the blinkers off, if we wheeled it back away from sport, I think we'd all look at it a little bit differently. And that's the tough part about being a football fan, is that we are hypocrites, whether we want to admit it or not. Every single one of us has judged the situation differently if it happens inside our club or without our club, whether it be about a specific player in an incident. If that had happened at another club, we'd have looked at it differently. And we have to admit that to ourselves, that, you know, we are fucking hypocrites. And but I don't know how you get around that. That's another day's that's another day's fucking argument, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not clever enough to know how you get around that. If FSG give us Bellingham, a Doku, Rafinha and a right back, they can stay for all I care. Yeah, look, on that. So on the whole FSG thing, I'm somebody who tries to be balanced on this as well. Because, you know, for me, the Super League was the last straw. I don't believe the apology. I don't believe they give a shit. I don't believe they gave a shit when they were doing it. I believe it was completely premeditated. And I don't, for 1 second, buy any of that apologetic bullshit. Never. I'm done. Don't believe it. Never will believe it. I will go to my grave believing that he would have happily kept going with that Super League if so many fans hadn't got behind the idea of getting rid of it. So from that part of it, I'm done with FSG. That's my side of it. But I can't in good conscience, as a footballing fan and somebody who loves my football club, not give them credit for helping us win the league title, for helping us win the Champions League, for delivering us Jurgen Klopp, for giving us a main stand, for giving us the Annie Road extension, for building Jurgen Klopp's dream at Kirby, for improving the area in and around Anfield, for the club superstore, for putting the club in a better financial footing, from helping to attract commercial partnerships. This is why I don't like these conversations about, are you in or out? Are you FSG in, are you FSG out? You can't. Any rational human being cannot just have one perspective on it and be, I hate the owners, they're the devil. They're not the devil. They 100% are not the devil. Nor are they the fucking bastions of morality that some people try to make them out to be. You know, there are good and bad points to them. And the good points, main stand, Klopp, trophies, financial security of the football club, no debt on the football club, you know, spending within our means. Bad sides, lies, constant lies, furloughing of staff, £77 tickets, you know, so many other things that are against the culture of how we as football fans, particularly in Europe, are used to football and support football. So it has to be a balanced conversation, and it's never ever going to work when you've got two sets of opposing views that won't accept that there's middle ground. There needs to be middle ground. I'm not the person to solve this, because, you know, anytime I bring this up, I get ridiculed by people who go, what the fuck, you don't go to the games, fucking what's your point, blah, 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 blah. Fair enough. Then keep banging your fucking heads against the wall and keep saying, I hate you, I hate the owners, I hate this, going back and forth on social media, arguing, shouting, screaming, pissing and moaning. And all it does is weaken the club, weaken the fan base, and let other people in to manipulate and capitalise on that disenfranchisement and that cracks within the fan base. That's all it does. Doesn't benefit anyone. Doesn't benefit the players. Doesn't benefit the staff. Doesn't benefit the fans. All it does is make it easier for the media to manipulate stories, to talk about instabilities at the football club, to talk about a divide in the fan base. It's not going to win. It's not going to help anyone. We need to realise that you're not in one box or another box. You know, there's middle ground. I'm sick of saying the same thing, but every time I do talk about it, I get ridiculed because, funny Scouse accent, lad, or what the fuck would you know? You sit in the sofa watching the game. Fair enough, I do. But I also pay my Sky bill, buy my merchandise, go to games when I can, talk about the club I love all the time. And my opinion's no better or worse than anybody else's. I just happen to have somewhat of a platform to share my opinion. And yeah, I don't like the idea of fans turning on each other. We all want the same thing. Sad part about it, Craig, is fans will twist themselves into a pretzel morally out of next owners or worth 300 billion, but we're outwardly racist as long as they buy big. That's what I'm saying, man. John Rock, we are hypocrites. I accept that. I understand that. And I can understand why to use Newcastle as an example, I can totally understand why a lot of people are justifying the owners in their own heads, because they have had so many years of Mike Ashley's penny pinching nonsense. But as funny as it is, one of the reasons Newcastle are able to spend 190 or 200 million without getting into FFP issues will be because of the hard-nosed business way that the club was run and not losing money. So, yeah, again, there's a bit of balance there. Pedri from Barca will fit Kloppo's style. Yeah, he's not going to be coming in, Vernon. I think he's already signed that new deal on Friday at Barcelona with a €1 billion release clause in his contract. Are you heading over to a game? I'm hoping to in January, Glenn. I'm waiting to hear back from my mate who's he's got, let's just say, an in to get some tickets. And I've just got to a point where I refuse to pay travel agent prices or tout prices, because I have a pain in my arse paying 300 quid to go to a Liverpool game for a hotel and a match ticket when I know that the face value of both is less than half. It does my head in. And I hate lining these people's pockets. So yeah, I just made a moral decision a few years ago that I'm not doing it anymore. And if I can get face price tickets or I can get access to a ticket, I'll buy it and I'll go. And if I can't, I'll do it out. That was just a choice that I made. And I get ridiculed for it a lot of the time, but I spent too many years and too much money lying in the pockets of fucking travel agents and tour operators to go to games that I'm sitting beside somebody who paid a quarter of the price that I paid for the same fucking seats. Do you know what I mean? It does my head in, and I don't like being in that position. And I don't like the fact that football is going in that way where, you know, the days of maybe bringing your son or daughter or, you know, to a game, they're going. It's like going to an entertainment event now. It's, you know, it's 100 quid a ticket in London for some tickets and stuff like that. And that's face value. It's ridiculous. Is the Premier League's fault for putting Newcastle fans in this position? 100%. I again, nothing but love, respect and admiration for all the Geordies and Newcastle fans. No hate for me on that whatsoever. And you're right, there are people whose job it is to put these tests and these calculations for the fit and proper person's tests, or the owner's test, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Richard Masters, again, the buck stops with him on this, because it was very quickly snowballed back into this happening after, like, let's be honest about it. This has happened because Richard Masters has said that he received a written undertaking that the Saudi Arabian government weren't going to be involved in the day-to-day decision-making at Newcastle. But yet 80% of the club is owned by the investment arm of the Saudi Arabian government. How the fuck can that happen? Do you know what I mean? 80% of the club is being funded by the country, or by the royal family who run the country, and yet we're supposed to believe that there's going to be no involvement in the day-to-day running of the club by Saudi Arabia. I could tell that to a 6-year-old and they turn around and go, huh? It's not possible. So it's not possible. Craig, when do you think Harvey Elliott will be back? I don't want to give false information on a timescale, mate. All I would say is the club have said that they're very, very, very confident that Harvey Elliott will be back playing football before the end of the current campaign. And I think any sooner than, say, March, February time will probably be a huge bonus. And I hope he gets back as soon as possible, because what a fine footballer Harvey Elliott is. Jamrock said, the Premier League and UEFA are all about money. That's why I was pro Super League. If my club has to pay big wages to players, invest in stadiums, academies, why does UEFA get to keep 1/3 of the money? Again, mate, I think you've made some valid points. I think that, you know, we're used to UEFA and FIFA, so it's kind of a case of better the devil you know. But from another perspective, we know that there have been a lot of dodgy decisions made by FIFA and UEFA. The allocations of the World Cups, the sponsorship, the money that's generated, the money that they take from the game. There is a lot to dislike there. And I guess it will come down to, I'm telling you now, it'll come down to whichever one of these parties are able to win hearts and minds. So whether that's this Super League in some revamped form with Florentino Perez and a PR company actually being able to sell the vision a lot better than the shambles of the way they've done it, or whether that's UEFA and FIFA ridiculing the idea of a Super League and winning the hearts and minds. It's going to be a PR battle, because at the end of the day, when there's money involved in the sums that there is money involved in this, greed will always come to the fore, and it's just going to be a straight shootout between, which is the lesser of two evils, or which one can convince us that they're the lesser of two evils, because they're all only in it for one thing, mate, and that's to make a few quid, no doubt about it. So no one's clean, basically. I wouldn't use the word clean, but I would say that nobody's doing it for moral reasons. Nobody's doing it to save the beautiful game. They'll tell you that they are. They'll make look at UEFA as an example right now. Look at what's gone on with racism and racist chanting in stadiums, and look at the fucking state of the fines that they hand out. Players get charged more than this for a bad tackle, but yet stadiums full of people can be shouting racist abuse at other human beings, and they get what is tantamount to their children, they're getting their allowance taken off them, like they were a couple of kids who washed their dad's cars and get a fiver for it. And some half-arsed, unenforced ban that is probably going to be overturned on appeal by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. It's a fucking joke. And until UEFA actually grow a pair and stop making shiny, glossy videos and phrases about racism and stuff, and actually punish those that are consistently flouting the rules and flouting decency of humanity, then I think we're all going to just go, you're as bad as the rest of them. And that's true. What else is there? Let's not forget about the Champions League format that's going to be introduced soon. It's a joke. It is, mate. And again, a lot of the new Champions League format, the Swiss model, the Swiss system, whatever it is that it's called, one, it's fucking ridiculously complicated to understand. And two, it still protects those clubs, those legacy clubs that have a high coefficient ranking, and there's still means put in place to try and make sure that the same top clubs are always getting into the Champions League every season, even if they haven't naturally qualified through the league. So yeah, I don't like that system either. I think what was wrong with the Champions League the way it is, in fact, if you wanted to make it bigger, just make more groups, or make the groups 6 in size, and play, I don't know, what are they doing it now? 36 teams, is it? Something like that? So have 6 groups of 6 and put through, I don't know, the top 2 in each group and the fucking 4 best runners up or something, and make the last 16 out of that. I don't know. It just seems like they're overly complicating it. It's to add more money per game. Just spot on, Jamrock, it is, mate. It's to one, add more money to the coffers, and 2, what's it going to do? Tire out the players even more, mate. And yeah. I mean, here's a great example, right? And if you don't believe me, Google this. So Napoli today maybe not today, but Napoli have released a Halloween kit that they are going to wear for 2 games. 2 games. And on this Halloween kit that Napoli have released, 2 fucking shirt sponsors on the front of it. So they have their regular sponsors, which is Lette, I think they're called, something like that. And then they've MSC Cruises underneath that. So 2 sponsors on the front, and then I believe Amazon Prime on the arm as well. And they're flogging this, and I'm not having a dig at Napoli, I'm just talking about the way football is going. They're flogging this they're going to wear it for 2 fucking games. 2 games. That's the way football's going. We have clocks sponsored now. You got to have fucking substitution sponsored. It's just constantly trying to find ways of getting more money out of the fans, and they're putting barriers between us and being able to attend or even watch football now. Right, couple more bits and pieces before we go. What do I think about the Ousmane Dembele links? Well, the article that I read said that Jurgen Klopp was in love with Ousmane Dembele. Now, I know Klopp likes the idea of good footballers who maybe haven't fully achieved their potential, and taking them, and through coaching and some advice and stuff, making them and helping them achieve that potential. And I think there's a good argument to say that Ousmane Dembele would fall into that category of footballer. And his contract is up at Barcelona. They want him to sign a new deal. He's had a really bad injury. at Barcelona. He's had a few little niggly issues around his behaviour when he first went there. But there is a fine footballer in there, and he could be one of those that could be turned around into a superstar. So I don't know how true the links are, but I can see why the links are being made. What else we got? What's the latest on Thiago? He's off his crutches. There's been some videos that he's put out, I think, on Instagram himself of him doing some exercises. Some look like he's trying to, help build up the muscle in his leg again, strengthen his core, all the usual type of yoga, Pilates style stuff. For me to tell you when he's going to be available, I'd be lying to you, but I wouldn't risk him at all on Tuesday, even if he is technically available. I would save him for the game against United next weekend. But I don't know the exact time scale for when he'll be back. Craig, would you love us bought by Elon Musk? A Tesla shirt would look immense. For me, Warren Buffett would be more my type of guy. I like Warren Buffett's ethical stance on a lot of stuff. But yeah, it would be interesting, all right. Soon crypto will take over football as well. Yeah, I mean, looking at the incident with Messi and how at PSG, I think he was offered, or the fans were able to buy, I think, like NFTs and stuff like that, maybe, or some type of digital fucking currency or cards around. I don't understand. I understand Bitcoin and stuff like that, of course, the very basics of it, but I'll never be investing in any cryptocurrencies anyway. So my money certainly won't be going down that route. And I think a lot of footballers are being stung on it as well. I was reading an article last week to say that footballers are now investing, a good chunk of them are investing money in cryptocurrencies and NFTs and stuff like that. And for me, it wouldn't be my cup of tea. But then again, hey, maybe I'm just a boomer. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call that one a night. I really enjoyed this though. Really, really have enjoyed it. It's been like going back to the old school days of just me and you guys. So tomorrow I'll be live at 5 o'clock with a preview of the Atleti game, starting 11 score prediction. 8:45 tomorrow night, there will be myself, Steve Bland and Jack Gill. And again, just a reminder, tonight's news show has been brought to you thanks to our friends at Manscaped. You can get the all-new Performance Package 4.0, including the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker Ear and Nose Hair Trimmer, Ball Toner, Ball Deodorant, Boxer Brief, and the really, really cool Shed Travel Bag. You can get 20% off and free shipping with our discount code WFM20. And really, really, really want to give a shout out to the guys at Manscaped because they've really backed us here on the channel. So if you guys are looking for an early Christmas present, maybe a Halloween gift for somebody, maybe somebody's birthday is coming up, please do go over, check out Manscaped, use our discount code to get yourself 20% off and free shipping, and have yourselves a lovely evening. Really enjoyed this one, folks.